Welcome to today's video predicting paper 2 of the Philosophy A-Level exam questions for AQA for 2025. Now, my previous video predicted paper 1. I'm sure if you're watching this then you have seen my paper 1 video. I'll caveat, I don't work for the exam board. This is all publicly accessible information. I'm just making predictions based on what has come up in previous years. You can have a look at this and you can form your own judgments based on this information. So, God, what do I think is going to come up? I have a feeling, if you look at the example, they've asked quite a lot about definitions and just outlining basic things. I think that realism and cognitism could come up for 3 marks. Again, I'm just not so confident with 3s and 5s. So take this all with a pinch of salt. Euthyphro dilemma. Now, I'm quite confident about this because it's quite an important bit of context and content rather that hasn't come up yet. And so I think this definitely could. Hair and religious language, or rather hair on religious language, hasn't been asked yet either. And so I think that's also pretty likely. God's attributes, and specifically the free will response. A question like, explain God's attributes, God's divine attributes, and explain the free will response. Something like that could come up. Free will hasn't come up yet for 12, and so it could come up as a response, or as its own 5-mark question. But I think free will could definitely come up this year. And then finally, this one I'm pretty confident about. Teleological arguments. Hasn't come up for 6 years. It's likely to come up now. It's quite a straightforward exam response, an exam question. That's what I think will come up this year. For section 2 about mind, again, I'm not very confident with the first set of these predictions. Intentionality could come up. Issue of interaction hasn't come up for 5 marks in ever. It has come up for 12 marks though. P's on me's also hasn't come up, so I think that P's on me's will come up this year. I'm pretty confident about that one specifically. And then we've had some dualism the last few years for 12-mark questions, so I think it could be the case that physicalism comes up. And then I've also hedged my bets and talked about phenomenal properties. So we could get a question like, how can physicalism account for phenomenal properties, or explain a physicalist theory and the issue of phenomenal properties, something like that. On that note of phenomenal properties in physicalism, I think that property dualism is going to be your essay for mind. It hasn't come up yet. We've had eliminative materialism twice. We've had a lot of physicalism. We've only had dualism once. We haven't had a question specifically about property dualism, and so that's my prediction there. If you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. Best of luck with your exams. I hope you found this video helpful.